Next on the list is New Game Season 2. I watched the Season 1, and I think I stopped it at episode 9 or 10, I think. This new game is, I think, is something I want to make a dedicated episode, because uh it kind of disappoints me. And if any of you have seen me in DeviantArt, you know that I'm a big fan of slice of life. And New Game, even though it has a amazing visual, I I dropped it for some I dropped it in the first season because a few things. I think I'm gonna make a dedicated video on this. So stay tuned. Next is Token Ranbu. Token Ranbu. Can call for woman. Can call. Can kore. Kantai collection for women. Except Token Ranbu is actually pretty good. Like Kantai, the Kantai anime. Uh, what year is it? Was it 2015? I really hate it. I think it really wasted the potential it has, especially with in term of basic plot, in term of characters, in term of uh the overall the overall style of the anime. I think it just wasted its potential, especially with how Fubuki is the main character. But Tokenrambu, I think, is pretty good. Tokenrambu is made by Ufotable, the same studio that made Fate Zero and Unlimited Blade Works, and Tales of Zestiria. So in terms of visual, it's pretty impressive. Like just like typical Ufotable style, it has consistent art style, heavy colors, and great battle scenes. And in terms of plot, it's I don't know how the game goes, but the whole thing about preventing history from being changed is actually pretty interesting, and the characters are pretty. How should I say this? Like, they have chemistry with them. Like, they are not really cliched, but hmm, I think I'm maybe I'm getting tired today, but the the plot is pretty interesting, pretty mysterious. I want to know more about the motivation of the bad guys. I want to know more about each characters, especially that each characters has a historical basis. And Ufotable is quite good at making dialogues, making dialogue as a part of the characters instead of just using dialogues to propel the plot. And so far, at least for the main group of the good guys, I quite like it. Even though, there's only male characters in this anime, and this is I don't usually watch mostly male anime for obvious reason. But for Takenrambu, uh, I'm still watching it every week, and I still want to know what's gonna happen next. So next, Isekai Shokudo. This is a slice of life, and it's a pretty unique one at that. It's about a restaurant. It's a slice of life, and at the same time, it's a food anime. It's like if you remember, like few seasons back, there's an anime called Ama Ama to Inazuma. It's a slice of life slash food anime. But the basic premise is very interesting. It's about modern restaurant, but it connects to a fantasy world, and every episode it showcases two different types of meals, and how a random inhabitants of the fantasy world got into the restaurant and eat them. And then there's usually this section of food reviews and what they like about the foods. I think in terms of story, there's now not really a consistent story throughout. There's no one basic plot. There's a premise. It's a slice of life after all. There's no overarching plot. But each characters, how the background of each characters, and how they end up, the circumstances, and how they end up in this otherworld restaurant is quite interesting. Even though I think the presentation is not really that good. Sometimes it gets sometimes the art can get a little spotty and mediocre. Sometimes the how the narration went through is pretty boring, but it's a fresh ideas. I think it's the ideas are fresh enough that uh, it interests me. Like I can talk a lot about this anime actually, but uh, we'll see later if I'm gonna. Basically, Isekai Shakudo. If you like slow anime, or maybe I think it's a good anime if you to watch while also multitasking, or if you can understand Japanese, yeah, it's better. But there's not really a complex Japanese to. Yeah, I don't think I think I think this is anime like you just watch casually, and it's not really a bad anime, but it's not really a spectacular or amazing anime. But but as I said previously, it's it has a unique premise and interesting ideas. Next is Nanamaru Sanbatsu. It's a club anime. It's a club anime about quiz bowl. It's a quiz club. It's about club that competes in competitive quiz bowl. It's a unique premise for sure, and I've gotta say that for the first like until episode 5, I quite like it. I think especially during the quiz scene, quiz scene, quiz scene. During the quiz scenes, it can get pretty interesting, pretty intense. It's like a battle scenes for shonen anime. It's like for it's like a sport anime, but instead of sport, it's quiz. And I think the anime did a great job at making the quiz scenes pretty intense, pretty interesting, and um, very exciting. But I think that's the only good part of this anime. And good thing that the quiz took a major portion of the anime, because in terms of characters, uh, they are pretty boring. I don't like the characters. Especially the main protagonist is your typical typical main characters that happens to discover that he has talent in a certain activity, and then he wants to improve. He found his passion, and the rest of the main characters are pretty very forgettable. No, not nothing really stands out. Their interactions are pretty unremarkable. I don't really remember good scenes, good dialogues among them, good stories. Even the plot is very basic. It's just mostly about the club is trying to improve themselves and competing various competition. And yeah, I think I drop it. I think I drop it in like episode 7, because the characters are just there, and the good even though it has decent art, even and the battle scene is pretty good, but it wasn't enough to carry me to watch more. I just drop it. It's a shame, really. I think it could have gone better if the characters are more interesting. But if basically, if you want to see something unique, you can try it. Even though in a nutshell, this is a very basic club anime. You know, club anime. Maybe I think in the future I will. This is something that I plan to write in my DeviantArt, but I didn't have the time. But maybe in the future I will just record it and talk about all these things that is not really clear. So next is Sentao no Nayami. I've read the manga. It's a slice of life, and it has a unique idea. It's about a bunch of creatures such as centaurs, uh, bunch of mythical creatures instead of humans. The world is inhabited by a bunch of mythical creatures. Uh, in terms of basic ideas, it is very interesting, very unique, and based on some the episodes, the writers definitely took some time to research and do some research and do some reading about various stuff like biology, like basic, how should I say this, basic logistics, because like in one episode it talks about how centaur, the whole thing about centaurs, because they are big and they have four legs, and then the biology of mermaids. Was it a mermaid? Yeah, basically because due to different species and different biology. I've read the manga, and yeah, it's very clear that the writers did some fairly extensive research to justify this weird universe, this weird world. But the problem about the anime is, firstly, is the art. The art's very mediocre. It's I think just based on the art is enough to push people away from watching this. And for me myself, even though I I personally don't really mind bad art, bad visual, as long as the story is interesting, as long as the characters are interesting and the content is interesting. But for Sentao no Nayami, art quality is bad enough that even I'm very discouraged to watch it. For as of now, I already dropped it. I think I dropped it around episode 6 or 7, and the problem with this anime is like it can get very ham-fisted. The exposition can get very forced in, because from the manga has all this upper external dialogue box, a narrator's dialogue box that explain things, and basically this is something that I can also talk. I can also talk more extensively in individual videos. Basically, it has bad art, and the 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 overall quality just does not deliver the slice of life aspect of it very well. Beside few episodes, I think in 6 episodes, I think I only like 1 or 2 episodes of it, and the rest are pretty meh. And but the idea is very fresh. I think if you like if you just enjoy new ideas and just want to watch something for new things, instead of you want to watch something different, you should watch it. If you also like slice of life. But otherwise, you shouldn't really bother, because you shouldn't really bother. So the next anime is mm, I dropped most of these. What like let's see, I've dropped Uh, Knight and Magic, I haven't started yet. Netsuzo Trap is I dropped it. I didn't like it. It is pretty gay, but yeah, it didn't excite me. Princess Principal, I was meaning to watch it, but I haven't had the time. Kepeki Danshi Aoyama-kun. I dropped it in episode 1. Shokoku no Altair, I dropped it in episode 4. Yeah, but there's a lot of I drop a lot of anime, but at the same time I watch most of this anime. Konbini Kareshi is a very vanilla romantic anime, romantic comedy. Is it a comedy anime? It's a romance anime, but it has some comedic moment, but it's pretty bad. Not bad as in bad as in it's bad as in I think it has a good basic ideas. It has a good basic idea. It features a bunch of couples from one school, and using this convenience store as a center of all the stories, and instead of just focusing on one couple at a time, it it shows the story of all couple at the same time. It switches yeah, the characters are interconnected, and they know each other, and their story move together. But the problem with this anime is like it's very slow, as in the scenes are sluggish, the dialogues are slow. It is as if that they are trying to pad the episode. I think it will be good if it's like 10 minutes per episode, because clearly that during some scenes it's very slow. The characters moving so slow. The characters dialogues are very disjointed. Maybe if I watch it in double the speed, I think maybe it's watchable. Maybe I should try that. But yeah, what make me drop this is make me drop this anime Konbini Kareshi is that it's just so slow. There's not much thing going, and the anime just drag on. It just should be just faster. The dialogue should be faster. The character should just move faster. And next is Vatican blah blah blah. Vatican Kiseki Chosakan. I drop it after 2 episodes. I'm not interested. Yokai Apartment. I drop it in 1 episode. Dive. I drop it in 1 episode. Jigoku Shoujo. Apparently this is 4th season of Jigoku Shoujo Hell Girl. Why are they still making Hell Girl? I don't know why. I didn't even watch 1 episode of it. And next is 18 if. I have no idea how you pronounce it. 18 if or 18 if. Oh, this one is actually pretty good. I really like it. But if you watch it, you will see that the art is very bad. Like, I think a bunch of YouTube animators can do better than this. I think this is a side project of a side project. The art is very bad, very amateurish, but the story is actually very interesting. It does not really has a continuous plot, but rather each episode features different story, different characters, with as in the main focus is on a different characters. This one is pretty unique. Each episode features different characters, and the main characters are trying to with each of these each of these women's problem. Women are afflicted with a sleeping beauty syndrome, and the main character is trying to wake them up. It has unique atmosphere, and especially in some episodes there's a deliberate difference between some episodes, as in I remember episode 3 and episode 2, and then the last week episode it has a quite different style, quite different colors, and especially last week. Last week even is a full CG, full CG episode, full 3D CG. And it has different. It has each episode is unique and different. And the basic story itself, even though it follows the same formula, that is, it introduces a woman, the witch, and then the problem, and then the main characters come and solve the problem, and then in the end everything is okay. The witches wakes up, even though it has that basic formula, but the circumstances, the basic plot, the story is interesting enough that it's personally one of my favorite this season. As in, every time the new episode comes up, I'm interested. I want to know what is this week story is about. Like most anime nowadays are just not that not that does not excite me that like that. It does not give me a sense of wanting to know more, wanting to see what's gonna happen. Because most anime nowadays, I think, I mean, like, most anime have their own formula, but 18IF, because of how the nature of it being a bunch of short stories, and the unique this unique dream and power of the main character, it interests me every time, every episode. It excites me. I want to know more, and as approaching as the summer 2017 is approaching its end. I want to know why the main character is still sleeping. I think I already spoiled the anime for some of you. But yeah, personally I would say that give this anime at least 3 to 4 episodes a try, even if you don't like the first and second episode, before you drop it. So, and then next anime, I'm getting tired already. I'm doing this continuously. Uh, I swear, I think I talk in English just tonight, uh, much more than I did in the last few months. So, okay, the next anime is Tenshino 3P. I've watched only 3 episodes and then I drop it. Why? Because it's a slice of life anime with a bunch of lolis. I think they are like a bunch of 10 years old girls. I don't really remember, but it's a slice of life. And personally, I think the basic plot, the very basic premise can be a good premise. And the art is really good. It has great consistency, good color, and the characters are cute. And as I said previously, the basic plot can be a good one. It's about a high school student that coaches a bunch of 10 years old girl in a band activity. They want to they want to perform a small concert. I don't know what happened after episode 3, like, because in episode 4 they actually did a small performance, and then I drop it. But my problem is it's a very fan service. It has lots of it's a lots of immature fan service. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't really mind fan service, but how this anime did fan service is very trite. Is that a good description? uh that's basically shows a very boring type of fan service. It just shows some of naked girls, and then some girls in lewd situation, and then that's just it. There's no good punchline, there's no amusing scenes, there's no, like, There's no, basically there's no good reasons and good humor to go alongside the fan service. It just there to show the viewers some loot, and I really hated that kind of fan service. I don't mind if fan service has a great humor alongside it. Like, what is the reason? Like, I'll get it later. I'll get to these things in other time. But basically, what I'm saying is the fan service is very for fan service sake. And then other than fan service, the how the story unfolds itself is pretty boring. There's no good dialogues. There's no exciting moments. There's nothing really particularly good about how the story unfolds and how the slice of life aspect of this uh, unfolds. Basically like most slice of life at least has amusing scenes, good humors, and something interesting, something a good reason to watch. But for Tenshin no 3P, seems like the only reason why you would want to watch this is because of lowly fan service. So that's why I drop it. If it has good humor, like, yeah, like last season or 2 seasons ago, there's an anime called Urara Meirocho. It's the art style is very lowly-ish, and it has lots of fan service, but at the same time it has great character development, great humor. At least the humors the punchlines are delivered nicely. And even though with lots of lowly fan service, I love Urara Merocho because it has many other things to go alongside the fan service. It does not depend on fan service alone to sell the anime. Next is Battle Girl High School. It's it's cancer. Don't watch it. I drop it after 3 episodes because it's absolute cancer. It's This Battle Girl High School is the epitome of what not to make. It is the most even though I only watched 3 episodes of it, there's so much wrong about this anime that I really hated that I can make a whole video about it. I can write a whole essay about it. That's just so bad. It's not even so bad. It's good. Like, there's some anime that is so bad that I watch it because at least it's entertaining on how bad it is. But for Battle Girl High School, it's just very meh, and I hated how meh it is. Don't watch it. The next one is Hinology. Uh, I really personally I really like Hinology. It's a spin-off of Luck and Logic. It's an anime film. Was it last year or 2 years ago? But yeah, but Hinology is a even though the tag from this myanimelist.net is action and fantasy, it is more of slice of life, high school anime. It's a slice of life, but with action and fantasy element of it. Slice of life humor, comedy, with action and fantasy element. But it is also at some moments it can get quite fan servicey, but I really like it because I think it balances pretty well. The humor, the comedy is pretty good and has a good pacing, good rhythm. The punchlines are pretty good. The characters are cute. The art the art can the art some fluctuates a lot. Sometimes some episodes are pretty good, but some episodes can be quite meh. But in overall, I think it's very serviceable. The colors are pretty good. I like the designs, the character designs. Even though it can be quite yeah, it is quite Yuri at some moments, but as I said, the comedy is quite good. The story, there's not no this is a slice of life. There's no overarching story, but it can get pretty heartwarming. And the stories can be pretty cute and very just You know, just something you watch and then you smile. Just you enjoy. You don't really. It's a slice of life. It's how you enjoy slice of life. And then during some action event, during some action, it's pretty decent. It's nothing to brag about, but I really like how instead of just normal combat school, it has the setting is nice. Instead of I think it manages to make an interesting setting. I really like the atmosphere, the school design, the mechanics behind the whole transformation thing. Yeah, more nice. It's if you want to say, I'm gonna say that Hinology is personally one of my favorite this season, because it's just something that it's very relaxing to watch. The characters are very likable. It has some subtext Yuri and some explicit Yuri. But yeah, I really like it. If you like slice of life, if you like cute girls doing cute stuff, you definitely should watch Hinology. And then the next in the list is Symphogear AXZ. This is the fourth season of Symphogear, and I'm quite a fan of the Symphogear series. If you like Symphogear, you should definitely watch it. It's a very high adrenaline action. Each episode has lots of action. There's really like no break. Like each episode has so much going on. The story move quite fast. There's lots of action in every episode. High octane actions every episode. There's lots of singing, lots of conflicts. If you are already a fan of Symphogear, you definitely should watch it. And then I don't watch Cleone. How do you Cleone no Akari? I watched the first episode. I hated the first episode. So I didn't continue. Mahojin Guru Guru. I watched only 2 episodes and I don't like it. It's a remake. It's a remake. I think it's not a remake, but as in it's a reboot. But I don't like the humor style. It's very slapstick, old-fashioned humor. I think it should have dial down the slapstickness of the humor. So I drop it. So finally, action heroine cheer fruits. I'm watching this. I think it's very good. I really like it. To explain this briefly, this is imagine this is Love Life, but instead of idol activities, this is about Sentai, not hentai, Sentai. You know, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, something like that. A bunch of girls trying to make their to become to make their own team of Power Rangers. I really like it. Uh, it has I think it has lots of characters. In just few episodes, it gathers like to 9 characters. Yeah, so it is like life, love life. So I really like the adventures on how they overcome the challenges of trying to expand themselves to make themselves more famous, or in terms of Sentai show. I think I'm gonna talk more about. I'm gonna give a proper review of this later. But even though it has a very quirky, seemingly quirky basic plot, but I really like it. It's a slice of life. It's a comedy. The plot is actually pretty good. The comedy is quite decent. The characters are lovable. I really like most of the characters, even though they can get one-dimensional at times. But it just it kind of reminds me of Love Life Light, like light Lite. But instead of idol, is Power Rangers. mm, I guess that's it. If any anime I didn't mention, that means I didn't watch it. There's lots of anime. This season there's a lot of anime that I'm interested in, but I've been very busy at work. This For the last few months, so it's kind of sad that I'm missing lots of anime. So I think I'm gonna stop stop here. So yeah, if you have been listening to this, what are you doing with your life? I hope that you are doing something else productive while you are listening to me rambling about stuff. But still, if you actually listen to this point, thank you so much, and give me a comment if you like. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna do that. But if you comment, I will appreciate any comments and criticism. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. Bye.